Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be covering the Metapool DAO. Just over 30 days ago, there was a very clear rocket that started shooting on the price charts, and we must ask, what happened 30 days ago? On June 14, Metapool releases a blog post called A Sustainable Economic for Meta Token Holders. On this blog post, they announce a buyback program for Meta. However, this isn't like other buyback programs. Let's unpack what is different about it. First, as of June 15th, Metapool will be using all protocol revenues to buy back Meta token. The interesting thing about the liquid staking protocol's revenue is that it is quite sticky, or it is quite predictable. Metapool makes money by charging a 4% fee on staking rewards. As of today, with 10 million TVL, this 4% amounts to roughly 3,000 NIR per month. The other cool thing about this buyback program is that it is fully automated at the end of each epoch. As the NIR rewards come in, they will be buying back Meta from Ref Finance, and we'll put an asterisk here because where the Meta is being bought will be very relevant as we look into Conspiracy Corner. Moving into the dynamics of the buyback. From the roughly 3,000 NIR being used to buy back Meta from the market, those rewards are being split 50% for active voters and 50% for community proposals. Namely, the Metapool community or holders of the Meta token get to decide how those protocol fees get spent or how they get put to use. And people that participate in governance also receive a large chunk of the rewards. And here we enter into what I have described as the genius flywheel. People may, not financial advice, be trying to accumulate as much Meta as they can, because if you hold enough Meta, you get to decide what to do with the protocol revenue in the future. The second aspect is also genius, because community proposals should have an element of growth. How can we further grow the TVL of Metapool and the NIR ecosystem as a whole? More TVL equals more fees, equals more Meta being bought by the protocol, equals more money available to incentivize voting, and more money available for more growth strategies. The final aspect before we jump into the voting platform is to think of the market share of liquid staking providers. The liquid staking market share on NIR is actually quite small. Even if you were to combine all the providers, Metapool specifically has around 10 million NIR staked to it, out of the total 534 million NIR staked in the protocol. So there's a lot of potential for growth in TVL. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the vote platform so that you can see how it looks and step by step how it would look if you want to participate in this governance process. If you're already familiar with the voting platform, or if you have already participated in the governance, feel free to skip that beat and join me in the Conspiracy Corner. I am trying to start a movement to create some somewhat cheeky proposals, a little bit out of the box. I personally think they make a lot of sense, but let's spark some discussion here. All right, so I am on the metapool.app website. I really like the recent redesign. I think it looks pretty gnarly. And on the left, we've got all the different categories of all the range of products that they offer. So we go to the vote section, and the first thing that you want to do is get some voting power. You lock your Meta in order to receive voting power. That may also be a worthwhile consideration for people thinking about how much Meta is in circulation at any one time. If your Meta is locked because you're voting, you can't sail. So I go to voting power. I've got some Meta on my wallet, so I'm just going to click max. So 30,000 Meta turns into just over 56,000 voting power if I lock for 90 days. However, the longer that I lock for, the more that it is worth. The maximum you can lock is for 300 days, and that increases my initial 56,000 voting power all the way to 150,000 voting power. If we go back to the dashboard, you can see all the relevant information. So a while back, I locked just under 15,000 Meta. That resulted in 71,000 voting power, and it is currently being used. You can also see all the things that you voted for. At the moment, I use my voting power to support the validator Crypto Garrick. Shout out to Garrick. And this is a very good point to mention that there are actually two things that you can support as a Meta governance voter. The first one would be Validators. This one launched a while ago. I think I made a video about this one a while ago. The meta pool is dedicating about 15% of all the NEAR delegated to them to be allocated by votes. Of the 9,400,000 NEAR currently dedicated with meta pool, 1,400,000 NEAR are available for voting. The Ready Layer 1 friends come at top. They have received just over 18% of all total votes, which means that yields them an extra 260,000 NEAR. I would encourage everyone to come here and see the validators available, and if you have a validator that you would like to support, you know how to do it. But the exciting new thing that came with the buyback program and the launch of the Meta DAO is initiatives. Currently, most of the initiatives are available for Meta Pool regional ambassadors, and soon these initiatives will be available to everyone. On the first round, there were only 3 proposals, one for attending CoinFest Asia, the second one for having a staking party, that's a really interesting and weird way of spelling staking, and the third one was education in Spanish. The second round of voting is on right now, and I would encourage everyone to take the time to drop by and familiarize yourself with the proposals. There are 7 of them, including holding a Meta Pool workshop in Vietnam, attending a Philippine blockchain week, science at the bar, whatever that may be in the world, educational programs in Mexico City, Women in Crypto by Crypto Queen, additional rewards for the Marma J ST Near Farm rewards, shout out to Marma J, education in Spanish, and brand awareness in Africa. Even if you don't have the meta or if you don't think you're going to vote, it's just interesting to see how governance and democracy works in practice. You can read more about the initiative, what the goal of the proposal is, how they plan to achieve it. If anything, this would all be a really good trial and run so that you can also perhaps maybe put forward a proposal in the near future. And this is, my dear friends, where I get really excited. Welcome to Conspiracy Corners. This section is about all the musings and ideas that I've had around all the possible game theory and things that could happen when you hand over total control to the community of the protocol revenue. At the moment, all the proposals are around regional communities and very much focused in education and growth. But if you really start thinking out of the box on things that could grow the revenue and the protocol, there are an endless range of things. So I'm going to have a really quick fire round of the ideas that I have had, or shall I say, a friend messaged me with these ideas, asking me what I think about them. And let me know in the comment section below what you think about them. Maybe if we can get enough support, we'll put them forward for some of the subsequent rounds. The first one would be to set up the burning brigade. If you like to see meta getting burned, it will be up to the meta holders to decide. I think that is a simple value proposition of reducing the meta supply. There's 2 things here. The first one is, naturally at the moment there's a lot of buying demand from the protocol because there are automated purchases. But as this meta gets handed over to the winners of the community proposals, that meta is likely to go back into the market. In my opinion, the winning combination here would be to put forward a proposal that creates real value for the meta pool community and is likely to drive TVL, but also to say, we'll do the work for free and the meta that we receive will get burned. I'll give you an example. Let's say, hypothetically, that Metapool wanted to sponsor my podcast. I'll be like, you know what? Give me $1,000 and I will gladly promote Metapool on my podcast as a sponsor, an early supporter. But instead of me going to the market and dumping that meta, I will burn it for all of us. Of course, it could also be just a standalone burn. The second idea that I have is protocol-owned liquidity. Traditionally, meta incentives have been used to drive up liquidity in decentralized exchanges such as Ref Finance. Here, the proposal would be to use the protocol fees to add liquidity to all these pools. Additionally, and this is where things get interesting, I'm looking at you, Aurora community. You can propose to add liquidity to any exchange. The question is, what would you like to achieve, and then do you own enough meta to make it happen? Here, the aim is not just to provide value to the Metapool community by having deeper liquidity on the meta pairs, but also I'd go 2 and 3 degrees of separation. First, let's say, hypothetically, you own a lot of tokens from Trisolaris, or WannaSwap, or HOLDR. you would benefit, or your community from those exchanges would benefit, if there is more trading volume on those exchanges. Third degree of separation, Aurora is also about to introduce a buyback and burn mechanism. So you can see how the Aurora community can very easily start pulling TVL into Aurora, and the more exchanges where Meta is listed, the more arbitrage opportunities, which means more transactions going on chain. I'll talk a little bit more about the arbitrage towards the very end on opportunities to pay attention to. The third idea is where things start getting very cheeky. You thought the burn brigade was good? What about the hostile takeover brigade? I wouldn't quite say hostile, but could it be possible that Meta token holders start to get organized and they start voting so that Meta Pool as a protocol starts to passively acquire other pieces of the ecosystem? For instance, I would like to see a proposal where the protocol revenues are used to buy ref finance tokens and then stake those tokens. And now Metapool is able to capture not just fees from the staking rewards, but also they can start to earn some revenue from all the volume on ref, including the ST near stable pool and the ST near meta pool, which are two of the top 10 pools of volume on ref. We could also be looking at starting to acquire a protocol on Aurora that perhaps has less liquidity, very low valuation. I'm thinking of something like WanaSwap. We could use protocol fees to start acquiring most of the Wana tokens, and the Meta DAO with its newfound ownership and power and influence over the WanaSwap exchange. Then we can make every single near-based pair on WanaSwap to be ST near-based instead, and every Aurora pair to be ST Aurora pair. So you can see how it would be a very strategic move for Metapool to drive adoption of its staked assets onto Aurora and to capture all the fees from the swaps on that exchange. The exact same reasoning goes for something like Bastion or Origami. Those are some of my cheeky ideas. I know that they're a little bit out of the box. They don't really quite seem to fit the community focus now. And finally, a little bit of alpha. Ref Finance is the main market for Meta through the Meta ST near pool. This is where the automatic buys are happening every 15 hours at the end of each epoch. This has resulted in a ton of volume and the pool generating a ton of fees. So there may be some opportunities here for people to add liquidity. As always, the most important thing here would be to consider impermanent loss. The volume is likely to remain high on this pool, but do your own research and be careful. The second bit of alpha is VEAX, the new kid in the block. VEAX also has two meta pools, including the only meta USDT pool on Near. This makes it a hot pool for arbitraging between the price of Meta, ST Near, and USDT. We can already see that over the last 7 days, there's been a whopping 1,700% increase in volume. In particular, if you're considering adding liquidity, I would highly recommend coming and checking out VEAX because it gives you a lot of flexibility around the fee level, and it also gives you a lot of flexibility on the price range that you want to add liquidity to. This added flexibility is what makes a relatively small TVL, just over $17,000, to have an effective TVL of $63,000. Crossing the pond over to Aurora, and if you've never done it, it is extremely simple. You simply go to rainbowbridge.app, connect your Near wallet, your Aurora wallet, and then you are on your way. It is even free. The largest Meta ST Near pool on Aurora is on HOLDR. Not many people know of or use HOLDR, and that is precisely why. There are some juicy opportunities out there. This pool is also generating over 20% in swap fees. But what I like the most about this pool and where I believe the opportunity lies is this is a weighted pool. Namely, it is 80% Meta and 20% ST Near. That means that it creates another amazing arbitrage loop between the price of Meta on Ref Finance, where the weights are 50-50%, to HOLDR, where the weights are 80-20%. To put it differently, for Meta to have the same price on HOLDR and Ref Finance, it requires it to have a different ratio of how much Meta and how much ST Near is in the pool. This means that if there's ongoing demand or sell pressure on Meta and Ref Finance, it creates a lot of opportunities to rebalance any price discrepancies. Moving on to WanaSwap. WanaSwap has a very small Meta ST Near pool. However, I'm just pointing this one out in case you like some of my conspiracy ideas and we get organized to take over this exchange. Moving on to Trisolaris, there's actually not much meta liquidity at all on Trisolaris. However, if you are from the Trisolaris community and you would like Metapool to allocate some meta rewards and bring back a meta pool to Trisolaris, the best way to do it would be to create a community proposal. I would likely vote for it. If you want to go the dictator way, just buy a shit ton of meta and vote for your own proposal. And finally, a great opportunity to earn some meta. So I am on Bastion protocol on Aurora. On the bottom right, if you go to the multi-chain realm, you can earn over 8% in meta tokens simply by depositing near. Likewise, if you have some USDC, all you have to do is deposit the USDC to earn over 17% in meta tokens. I'll probably create a separate DeFi video on how you can start to assemble the DeFi money Legos and many opportunities. You can deposit ST near, borrow USDC super cheap, deposit that elsewhere where it pays a higher interest on USDC. But for now, let's keep it super simple as 2 easy ways to earn meta. Friends, that's it for me today. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the new governance model? If you're going to put up proposals yourself, which of the current proposals you support, and in general, anything at all. Let's make that comment section blow up. If you like it, subscribe, share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.